I don't think we've ever seen a swan before.
We have not.
In the book, that is. I have seen swans.
Welcome to Inchworm,
the podcast in which we're inching through Worm. I'm Jenny.
And I'm Ted.
We read Prey 14.7.
The arc continues.
Yeah, we found the other 9, but then there was a bombing and they didn't get killed.
Well, they didn't all get killed.
No, that's true. The 3 we were after didn't get killed. Seems like Crawler is gone.
Yeah.
I'm pretty skeptical, but we'll see.
We'll see.
Mannequin we didn't really hear. He might have just been
confirmed.
frozen in time, so we don't know.
Taylor seems to think that they got him.
Yeah.
Whether or not that means killed,
Right.
TBD.
Maybe they just captured him.
Yeah.
Hard to say. Anyway, do you want to tell us what happened in the chapter in more detail?
It's my turn. Okay,
it's your turn.
Yes. At the end of the last chapter, they just put some pieces together that Siberian, Jack, and Bonesaw may be converging on the same location. There are a few places nearby, but Tattletale thinks they should check the shelter underneath the central library and the one near where Scion and Leviathan fought back in Arc 8. Taylor, along with Tattletale and Gru, are walking ahead of the rest of their group, and Taylor's like, yeah, I remember that shelter. I'd rather go to the library first. And Tattletale's surprised. She's like, I thought you'd be proud, like I heard the story about what you did. And Taylor reflects a little bit about how when she thinks about that moment, she knows it could be seen as like the first time she was a hero, but she can't find it in herself to be proud about it. She has this ugly feeling when she thinks about it because maybe she didn't try as hard as she could have, because she remembers seeing Mr. Gladly and feeling like she hated him and all of that. And she also reflects, I had this dream of being a hero. Maybe that's what I was going to do when I left the Undersiders back in Arc 7 and 8, but that dream has kind of faded away. And Tattletale's like, well, we're happy to have you. Then Taylor checks in on Gru, and he's like, stop asking me if I'm okay. That's annoying. And Tattletale says, don't be a dick. We care about you, and if the shoe was on the other foot, you'd be asking us the same thing. So you'd tell us if there was a problem, right? And he's like, well, I don't know what that means, but yes, I would. Sundancer has actually been leading them. She is putting out the flames with her son so they can head to their destination. They're considering, like, okay, well, probably just a direct assault, but they're in one of 2 places. So Lisa says, I almost think we should split up. That's obviously super risky, but on the other hand, if they escape and go into hiding, they're only going to get stronger, be more well defended. So maybe in this case, the best defense is a good offense. Taylor notices Gru's darkness sort of reacts when they bring up the possibility of the 9 retaliating or hunting them down. And Taylor hesitates but proposes that if they're splitting the party, she and Atlas could go scope out the library while the others break into the vault that she doesn't really want to go back to. Gru obviously thinks that's a terrible idea. Taylor's risking her life. They talk about, well, their only long-range attacker is Jack, right? But my range probably beats him being able to see me. And Tattletale's like, yeah, well, think of him like a sniper, right? All he has to do is get you in his sights and you're as good as dead. But on the other hand, his role as the leader of the group means he's not just going to be like hanging out up on buildings all the time. Mm-hmm. He's going to be with the others. So, you probably don't need to worry about him acting that way, but still, dangerous. Taylor's trying to make the argument to Gru that this is the minimal risk splitting the party plan, at least minimal risk for maximal effect. Gru's really saying, like, I don't think she's the only one who gets to decide. And Taylor wants to humor him and is like, well, what's a better option? He thinks, let's go one at a time. They talk about whether Regent can help, and that's too risky. That just increases the risk. And finally, Tattletale says to Taylor, go, stay in contact. And she leaves. Just Lisa ending the conversation. As Taylor flies to the library, she thinks about how Atlas is a little bit more like a prosthetic limb than the rest of her swarm. There's something unnatural, but she'll probably get used to it over time. At the library, she uses her relay bugs to sweep the scene, but the vault door is closed. There's no sign of the 9. And then suddenly, Siberian, Legend, at the edge of her range. Taylor kind of gets within sight of them. Legend is chasing Siberian, and something about the way he's trying to shoot at her seems weird to her. Siberian, by the way, still has the truck, is swinging it around, and Taylor's like, is Legend... He's not trying as hard as he could. Oh, well, maybe it's like a war of attrition, right? They could be doing this indefinitely, but maybe Legend just has to last, 9 hours when Siberian only lasts 8.5, and then that's how this battle ends. Taylor's trying to help with her bugs, maybe distract Siberian, but she ends up getting a few bugs into the truck and realizes it is empty. So whatever's going on, there is no battle of attrition that Legend can win here. And she writes that to Legend, but he doesn't really change his behavior. Taylor decides to call Tattletale. So she runs through a few of the different things. The main thing is, why, even in a war of attrition, is Legend keeping the fight here downtown? He's destroying buildings. There's so much property damage. This can't possibly be the best place to pick the fight. Something doesn't feel right to me. And Tattletale's like, okay, well, they did that firebombing. It didn't accomplish much, so they've got to have something else up their sleeve, but I don't know what it is. Then they go on to speculate about, okay, well, where's Siberian's real body? Could he be in the shelter? But if that's the case, then where are Jack and Bonesaw? Would Siberian risk revealing himself to them? While they're talking on the phone, the Unravelers break into the vault by the beach. It's empty. So they decide that they are on their way to join Taylor, and Tattletale points out, you don't have the strength to open the vault, but Legend does. So Taylor signals to him. The 9 are in an underground shelter, maybe civilians inside, I don't know. Big arrow. And Legend immediately starts heading for the shelter, and Siberian goes from kind of being chased into hunting Legend, trying as hard as possible to attack, leap at Legend, go as fast as an arrow shooting from a bow, trying to knock him out of the sky. Legend shoots a beam of lasers that splits into 8 and takes off the vault door in one blow. He tries some move where he shoots hundreds of lasers out in all directions, most of which stream into the vault, but some of them even hit Taylor, and it's scalding water. But Siberian's kind of distracting him, so he can't really focus on whatever he's trying to do. And as Legend approaches the vault, Taylor's swarm goes in. She does find civilians that she doesn't recognize. They seem to have metal structures on them. And she finds 3 quote-unquote people, 2 men and a pre-adolescent girl. It's the 9. She signals to Legend what she's found. He acknowledges that. And then she sends her swarm in. She's going all out. Jack and Siberian's real body are in a lot of pain. They're reacting. As Siberian's body is attacked, the Siberian projection flickers, indicating that maybe he needs to concentrate. And Taylor reflects, I'm not holding back. These bugs are trying to destroy. And we get a couple paragraphs of nasty description of bugs versus flesh. Bonesaw doesn't feel pain right now, apparently, and has hands made of ceramic, but Taylor uses silk to tie up her hands. Unfortunately, Jack is able to blindly slash her hands free, so she's able to create her anti-bug smoke, and then Taylor tries to set that smoke on fire with her fire delivery system, but that's a no-go. Taylor's out of ideas, and she decides that she's going to back off, when suddenly, Legend reacts to something. He darts into the shelter, briefly tries to rescue the civilians. They almost overwhelm him, and he shoots himself free. And then he blasts a hole in the top of the library, flies up through it, and starts shooting down below, beneath him, as the second bomber approaches. Taylor gets on the phone to say, take cover, and suddenly bombs are going off, and it is utter chaos. so many different bomb effects ripping through the library and the surrounding blocks. We see sort of a black hole vortex. We see a time freeze. We see stuff get turned to glass. We see stuff get turned to sand and explode. There's all of these kinds of bomb effects everywhere. And Taylor's completely overwhelmed by how chaotic and crazy it is. And as, the bombing calms, Taylor goes over to Legend with her hands up, so she's not threatening. He thanks her, saying that some of what she did helped, some of it maybe not. And he tells her Crawler and Mannequin got hit. Taylor's like, well, what? How did the heroes disengage? Apparently, Clock Blocker froze Mannequin in place with restraints. Crawler freed himself by basically cutting himself in two, but then Pigo got on the phone and told Weld to tell Crawler exactly what they were planning to do. And apparently, Crawler was, quote, so tickled at the idea that the heroes would be able to hurt him that he just stayed in place while the heroes ran away. Taylor's like, but if he survives, and Legend just says he didn't. The civilians, Legend says they're probably all dead, but it's a mercy. Bonesaw had kind of attached spiders to them so they could be remotely controlled like zombies, and they seem to be suffering greatly. Taylor uses this moment to ask Legend, can the city come back from this? And he's like, well, I don't really know the city, but, people are stronger than they appear. Maybe cities are too. And that conversation gets halted when Taylor finds Siberian, Jack, and Bonesaw. Siberian is flickering violently, but holding on to them and protecting her real body. And Legend is like, all I need is one shot. If Siberian lets go of Jack and Bonesaw, I can kill them.
But why would she?
He is able to see on the back of Siberian's body's hands 2 tattoos. One, a cauldron. The other, a swan. Legend says, that means I know who he is. A scholar. Then Jack notices them. Legend starts to give chase, and Taylor's like, okay, well, my team's coming up, let's do this. And Legend says, no, it's time to back off. Taylor says, we're winning. You guys just took out 2 of them. They're on the defensive. And Legend says, yeah, that means the game's over. We've broken enough rules. The 9 are going to show us whatever punishment Bonesaw was cooking up for us. Mm-hmm. And that's where the chapter ends.
Yeah. I was gonna say, when I first read the ending of the chapter, I was like, and he thinks if the Unravelers don't attack right now, they might not do it. But then it occurred to me while you were talking, the more generous interpretation of like, he thinks that if the Unravelers go in right now, they'll get hit with whatever it is. Though it sounded like it was going in the water supply, so I don't know. Does Brockton even have running water right now?
Well, there certainly is
a lot of
standing water in many different places.
Standing, not running, yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. I guess you probably can't comment.
My read is that the calculus was we have our bombs, and then if that doesn't work, then we're going to have to prepare for whatever's going to happen. And maybe then the hero's calculus shifts to we have to defend the city, right? Like we shot our shot and now we have to defend the city. So I think Legend is at least...
not attacking is going to keep them from doing the thing.
Yeah. But on the other hand, I don't know, at this point, are they as good as saved? I feel like if Siberian's body is doing that poorly, that Siberian is flickering constantly, I do kind of see the argument for pushing the advantage.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Yeah, and also he doesn't really care about what happens to the Unravelers. So I feel like it must be more like if the Unravelers go in, Jack and Bonesaw are more likely to do the bad thing. I just don't think there's any way to keep them from doing that at this point. Right. Yeah, I mean... And like probably the best chance of keeping them from doing it is pushing the advantage. Yeah. Yeah, so it is interesting. I don't know if it's sort of a Gru-like caution that is winning the day here. Mm-hmm. We did get Lisa saying, basically, if they get out of the shelter, then they're going to be able to hunker down and put up a better defense. Right. So maybe the thought is just, in this moment, Legend thinks they'll be able to get away. On the other hand, I don't know how they can go faster than,
like Legend, his whole deal is flying around fast, so he probably can just follow them.
Yeah. It's just very unclear to me what he was thinking there. I mean, it's also the last moment of the chapter, so we might find out more in the next chapter.
It could also be...
It could be Taylor saying in the next chapter, well, that means we need to push the advantage more, you know.
But maybe it's also like Jack versus Flyers to the sort of sniper thing. Maybe like Siberian doesn't have a way to get at Legend in the sky, but Jack does.
Yeah, how long can he extend his blades? I guess it's his power, so probably really long.
Yeah.
Infinitely long? Who knows?
So maybe it's a little bit like Legend knows that once Jack is above ground and looking at him, he's not willing to risk kind of the showdown against his power. And so, who knows?
Yeah.
So, how are you feeling about the state of Brockton Bay versus the Nine?
Oof.
Seems like we're...
pretty cool that they got Crawler.
Yeah.
I am skeptical just because he's really hard to get.
Yeah.
How are they sure? But... And I'm not sure about Mannequin. Like, it did seem like they were in the blast zone, but if he was clock blockered, then he was probably fine.
Well, I think what I got from that paragraph is Clock Blocker managed to pull his, like, chain them down maneuver.
Oh, cool.
So he was restrained, but not frozen.
Well, that would be really hard to do to Mannequin, who has all these pieces.
Yeah. And so Crawler, the same thing happened, but he ripped his body in half to get through the restraints. And then decided to stick around anyway.
That makes more sense. Yeah. And I guess it was too much for him, ? I'm still skeptical. But that would be great.
Well, I mean, let's assume they're right and he didn't survive. Can we give Emily props for this one?
It was a really good maneuver.
Because I think it is arguably... Not
a genius, but not stupid.
No, I think arguably it is a genius move. Because it's the same kind of manipulation that she pulled on the Undersiders. Like, I know what you want to do and it's what I want. So I'm just going to tell you. I'm just going to tell you what you're going to do. And Crawler's like, ooh, Bakuda bombs. That sounds fun.
Spicy.
I mean, it's a hell of a gamble, but in this case, the Colin-esque gamble paid off. Asterisk, we'll find out. But, you know.
Unfortunately, the gamble, I mean, I guess, I don't know if it was a gamble, but the maneuver against the main three did not succeed.
No, it's so aggravating when they show up again, all three of them.
Just every time. I mean, Taylor really got to take a bite out of them, which seeing Taylor go all out was so fun.
Yeah.
She's basically flaying them. The bugs are like eating all of their skin.
Yeah, the description of what the bugs are doing is awful, and then you get how, like, Bonesaw doesn't even care as she's being flayed. It's truly awful descriptions of bug violence. Yeah,
Bonesaw frees her hands from the silk by asking Jack to cut them. And Jack kind of just, like, cuts at her and, like, you know, opens her face. And,
Exactly.
But, of course, it doesn't matter. She's just going to heal that up. But they are on their last legs. And it's really frustrating that Legend is stopping the Unravelers from going after them. Because I feel like they'd really have a chance right now.
Yeah.
Imagine taking out all of the 9.
I know.
So good.
I mean, to be fair, the Unravelers aren't like... It's not like they're here and Legend is saying, stop. It's like they're on their way.
Coming.
Right.
Yeah.
So I do kind of feel like the choice to pursue or engage is basically just Legend and Skitter for several more minutes. And
that's
it's unclear.
True.
That,
can they pursue?
That's what he's evaluating. And it's not like Sundancer is here with her son ready. And Legend's like, no, you must go and hide from water.
Yeah, Legend's comment when Taylor flies towards him, I like how she raised her hands. As if, her power doesn't require her hands anyway. But he's like, thanks for your help. Some of it was misguided or counterproductive, but for the most part, like, you didn't have to tell her that. Like,
well, it's funny. Yeah, is it stiffly acknowledging a villain where he's kind of like, well, some of it was misguided, but it did make a difference. Like he's like just intoning it. He's like, the important thing is that it made a difference. Or is he just an awkward guy? Right? Like,
I think it's probably more the latter. Like, it's probably really frustrating. I mean, Taylor gets really frustrated in battles with people. She's like, oh, they're not doing the thing that I need them to do.
Yeah. The same way where Weld dived for Mannequin instead of Crawler, and Taylor's like, ugh.
Legend's the head of the whole Protectorate. I'm sure he likes giving people orders, and he couldn't tell Taylor what to do in the battle, and it was probably really frustrating to him. Yeah. That's why they should have collaborated when Taylor suggested it.
I know.
It's like they're going to be fighting the 9 anyway, so might as well make your side stronger by uniting.
Yeah. I did really like that she ends up talking to Legend here. It's another fun story cycle. The last time she was talking to Legend, I guess she talked to him a little bit with Trickster earlier, but like at the end of book 1 in the hospital, right? Yeah. Legend is the one who comes to her and is talking to her about her options, right? And then the thing that she decides to ask when she has this opportunity to talk to somebody in the Triumvirate is, like, can Brockton Bay come back from it? Which is that theme all the way back from Arc 9, the beginning of Book 2, when Weld shows up.
Yeah, and Sophia's like, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe the city just keeps getting worse, and that's what it is, right? It feels very meaningful to have her kind of returning to this theme, and also obviously setting up the kind of like, well, we've seen the city go through a lot of stuff, and now, like, what's the worst thing that Bonesaw can imagine doing to it as a way of, like, building tension and dread?
Ugh. Yeah, I guess we don't know what her biological warfare entails yet.
Yeah. We saw her invent that thing at the merchant's party where, like, people would, like, explode and their blood would spatter on people, and then those people would explode.
It would just be like a chain of 3 or so.
Yeah, exactly.
No big deal.
Right. No pandemics. That's the rule.
Yeah, but it does sound like this might be call for a pandemic. Or poison, or mind control. Like, there's so many things she could do, I bet.
Yeah, it could be bad. I was also interested in Legend's opinions about civilians, because Taylor's like, I found the 9, and she's like, they're probably civilians, she tells him. And she's thinking about, like, how will Legend feel about hostages? And that's been another theme in the story, and we got the beat from Pico's interlude where Legend is like, yes, we're letting the Siberian torture someone because it's better for our plan.
Right.
But here he goes in and he does sort of try to save them, but he assesses that he can't. And then what he says at the end is like, well, they're all dead, but that's going to be a mercy. You know, they were zombies, but they were aware and in incredible pain. Maybe I could have saved them, can't say. From the glimpses I saw of them, I don't know if they would have thanked me.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just thinking a lot about the fact that Bonesaw can remotely control them, and how that reminds me of Amy and Victoria from last
and also
chapter.
Alec,
Yep, Alec and Shatterbird, and this recurring beat, like with Gru, about like, well, it's a mercy. You know, maybe we could have saved them, but we blew them up, and, you know, it was a fate worse than death. So, you know, they're, of course, nameless characters, but the same assessment that Taylor made before Gru got captured, when she was like, well, these people, I'm not going to tell Sundancer about them because they're as good as dead, right? It's kind of the same calculus here.
Yeah.
But the particular horror of them being body controlled is
they didn't
relevant.
Get to choose. I mean, Victoria also didn't get to choose. Victoria didn't get to choose to be saved. They didn't get to choose to be killed in their state worse than death.
Oh, yeah. Did you have any thoughts about what Legend was trying to do with his, like, 100 laser superstorm?
Oh my god. I mean, I don't know what he was trying to do in general. I wonder if the superstorm is recon for him.
I was wondering if he could sense.
Yeah. I bet he can tell, like, when his lasers hit something. Yeah, it's not like he has a laser weapon. They're, like, part of him. Yeah. So I bet that was recon. I don't know what he was doing with Siberian before that, though.
It's really interesting, right? Yeah, like, the War of Attrition thing makes sense.
That might have been the explanation.
But he doesn't change his behavior that much when Taylor says Siberian's not in there. So was he just stalled? Like, did he know the whole situation and he was just stalling for the bombing run?
But did he expect the bombs to take out Siberian?
No, and like the bombing would have done nothing if he hadn't flown into the shelter and blasted the roof open, right? So like,
right.
I feel like you have to take Taylor tipping him off about their location as like, Legend wouldn't have known to do that unless Taylor told him.
Oh yeah.
In which case,
definitely.
what is he doing?
Maybe he was just stalling Siberian to keep her from getting to Jack and Bonesaw because he wanted them to be unprotected for the bombing run. But they didn't know where Jack and Bonesaw were.
That's the thing. Yeah.
So, yeah,
unless they had some other way of knowing.
Yeah.
Right. And that would be interesting if Taylor's presence kind of messed up. But I feel like Legend would have... He's not above pointing out how badly she screwed up. And I don't see...
Yeah, it
it's
sounds
tough for me
like
to
he was
parse it
just
that way.
kind of annoyed that she didn't know exactly how to help him.
But... And I guess it doesn't really matter to the plot. But once again, the hero's behavior, right? Legend's behavior with Siberian tips off...
Yeah. Taylor.
A villain that something is up, right?
Yes.
So the heroes keep making this mistake about like, oh, they're not acting totally rationally, and that gives the villains a chance to be like, okay, something is up, something is going on here. But it doesn't sound like the bombs would have caught the Unravelers, anyway, right?
No. I mean, I guess Taylor.
Certainly Taylor. Yeah. But she was able to fly up when Legend flew up.
Right.
I also love, it was so funny, Legend's like humble brag when he's like, can you see that? And Taylor's like, no. He's like, yes, perhaps you can see the tattoos on his hands. And Taylor's like, no, of course, like you have super sight. It's
Love his super sight.
It's very, very funny. But I was also thinking it's a little bit Taylor to sort of think everybody else can keep up.
Yeah.
Like, he's just so used to it. He's like, I forgot. Not
you don't have knowledge of everything happening in the battlefield? What's wrong? Okay, so there's a cauldron. We know where that's from. There's a swan.
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever seen a swan before.
We have not.
In the book, that is. I have seen swans. And this tells Legend who he is. He's like, now I see. And Taylor's like, what? He's like, oh yeah, you wouldn't get it. And, I mean, we know what the cauldron means. It means that Siberian got their power from cauldron. The swan apparently means that he's a scholar? Is this a specific person that Legend now knows that he is? Is there like a great scholar of Cape stuff who had a swan tattoo on his hand and then got a power from cauldron and disappeared? Or does it mean he was like part of a group that had swan tattoos?
That's interesting. I parse it more as the former.
Yeah.
We know who he is. And Taylor
that
asks,
seems more precise.
Someone I'd know, and then he just shakes his head and said, a scholar. So that's like explaining, like, you probably don't know the names of these people. Like, this is why you don't know him, and not like he is one of these,
Right.
He's one that I don't know yet. Do you have any speculation, wild guesses?
I don't know. Like, I know that there must have been scholars of Cape stuff who were part of the founding of Cauldron, and Siberian is very early.
Yeah.
Like a very early Cape. So probably right back from the start of Cauldron, I would imagine. Maybe one of the first or the first Cauldron Capes.
Yeah.
That would be cool. And if that's true, was Siberian's creator, was he involved in the creation of the Cauldron formulas?
Interesting.
Like, I kind of feel like you need a tinker to be involved in that, but, like, maybe he was providing some other history or knowledge, or, I don't know, maybe he's a scholar of the weird dimension where the, trigger event creatures live.
Ooh,
the
I like
hyperdimensional space.
I like that theory.
An explorer.
Okay.
But, like, somehow lost someone he cared about, and, like, then his mind.
Yeah. Okay. Good thoughts.
I don't know.
Good thoughts.
I feel like we don't have a lot more to go on with the whole Swan thing. Oh, so apparently, if Jack and Bonesaw didn't know about Siberian's creator before, they do now.
Oh, yeah.
But I bet they did.
Yeah?
I think so. I bet those two.
They were, like, in a circle.
If anyone was in on it, it would be those two.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Because they are clearly so central to the Nine.
Yeah, that is interesting. I don't remember anything from Jack's interlude that would support this theory. Because Jack did talk about,
he definitely didn't say anything about that.
Siberian would disappear randomly at times, and we'd have to wait for her to come back from hunting, which to me, fits a lot more with, like, you know, the projection is off.
Yeah,
you know, like,
yeah. He's asleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is possible, like, but it's characters don't always think about the stuff they know.
Of course, yeah. We had an interlude from Lisa, and we learned barely anything,
So I think, though, that she would have trusted them with this, because she clearly has a lot of affection for Bonesaw.
Yeah.
And I think that Jack, you know, wants to keep her around, so... And I bet that Bonesaw has reinforced her creator.
Oh,
He's got sheaths.
He's got sheaths. That's...
Yeah, it's possible Bonesaw knows and Jack doesn't, which would be fascinating.
Ooh, yeah.
It's like they have this special bond.
It is a really interesting, like, that scene would have been so revealing, and we don't get to see it, right? Like, we don't know, like, was it like a, who are you? You know, like, or was it like, haha.
Hi, it's me, Siberian. Like,
right.
That would be so confusing to try to communicate that in the moment. How do you convince someone that you're Siberian? I bet that she left him in the sun pit.
Oh.
Because, like, how would he escape from the truck while she was swinging it around?
Interesting. Yeah.
And that maybe the reason she delayed was, like, gotta get this guy out of the truck and, like...
I love that
safe.
theory.
So she got him out of the truck, then came up swinging the truck around, and we were speculating that, like, he's not invulnerable inside the truck.
Right.
So she was only swinging the truck around because he wasn't there.
Well, and Taylor does bring up something here, which is that you can't put the truck, like, underwater because... Not that the truck would flood, but because if the truck doesn't have access to oxygen at some point when the power is not applied to it, then whoever's inside will suffocate.
That's a good point.
So, but I do really like your theory that was a chance to ditch the real body, and then this whole thing has been just, you know, Siberian leading legend on a wild goose chase.
But the truck was not impenetrable to bugs. So I don't know that he would have actually suffocated.
That's a good point.
And when she touches Jack and Bonesaw, I don't think they suffocate. Well, they're not inside a thing she's making invulnerable. So the truck is invulnerable, but she didn't, you know, patch up all its crevices with her invulnerability.
Right.
It's not quite a force field power.
Exactly.
So, like, the bugs can still get in through the exhaust system or whatever.
Right. But then it's like, couldn't Sundancer's son just, you know, superheat all the air? You know?
That's a good point.
But I guess that's why the Siberian fell down to the bottom of the pit. You know, it's... It seems like they were probably pretty close to killing the real body several times.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet. They could have just looked in the pit after Siberian left, but I guess they were distracted. It seemed like she had the truck full of the person, who apparently is very gross and dirty inside there.
Yes. Oh, yeah, that was so gross. That the truck is disgusting.
I mean, it would be hard to care about your body when you have this way better one.
I know.
Human bodies require so much maintenance.
One thing I was thinking about is if Siberian was revealing herself to the other 9 for the first time, why?
Well, people found out about her for the first time.
Yeah.
Like, I guess Cherish knew. There was a thing where I realized in listening to our old episodes that Cherish's power didn't work on the Siberian, is what I think she said, or we learned somehow. But not exactly true. Maybe it doesn't work on the projection.
Exactly. Yeah.
So she does know about the guy. So because Cherish told them, they confronted her with the knowledge. I guess at that point, it's like the cat's out of the bag. They'll probably find out. Might as well use it to my advantage.
Yeah,
well,
interesting. The other thing could be, maybe he got out of the truck then. Maybe he also was injured. And so his thinking was, well, I better get to Bonesaw. I broke my arm or something like... I need my real body to be healed. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna... That makes it worth it to reveal myself.
Right. It seems like he's doing badly in general. Like, those bugs would really...
Yeah, I mean... And
especially if he doesn't have the reinforcement of Bonesaw having helped him before.
Yeah.
Turns out it's a concentration power. It's just that no one ever hurts him because they don't even know he's there.
Yeah.
I really, really want the battle to continue. It's like, so pulling the rug out from under us if we don't get to...
Yeah, well, we'll see.
God, people must just read these arcs so fast.
Yes. This is... I feel like this section with the 9 is like the part where the pace really picks up. And, like, you know, you start to stay up all night reading Worm if you haven't been already.
Total side note, but I loved Taylor's line. A few more things that are bugging me. Can I use your brain? Love it.
Yes. Yeah, the dynamic between her and Lisa is delightful in this chapter.
Yes.
Like, again, with Taylor being like, well, what about no? And Lisa being like, keep talking. I will extract all of the ideas from you.
The dynamic of Lisa and Gru, Lisa and Brian, I guess, is also really interesting.
Yeah, well, right. Taylor, Lisa, and Brian are the ones making the decisions.
Yes.
Like, the rest of the Unravelers who are around just are happy to follow orders.
Right.
What did you make of Lisa and Brian?
Well, it seems like Brian's not, like, super in charge.
Yes.
When Lisa's like, okay, so do you want to go? And they've talked about all the pros and cons of Taylor, going off separately and how maybe she could stay safe. And Brian's like, she's not the only one who gets to make the decision. And when finally Tattletale does make the decision, she says, go. Taylor looks at Gru, and Tattletale points and says, go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, kind of like a don't look at Gru.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because Taylor isn't willing to overrule Gru in this moment, right? She's persuading him. She's trying to, like, reach over and be like, look, no, I'm thinking about this. I have a plan. This is the best plan, And Brian, of course, wants something slower and safer. And Lisa is willing to take command and make a decision and overrule Brian. Maybe she sees there's no right answer. Maybe it's just that someone needs to be in charge. Maybe she's just fed up because of all of the Amy stuff and she's out of patience. I kind of felt like Brian, obviously, he is mopey, but again, he's had the worst day ever. So when Brian's like, I'm getting kind of annoyed, people are asking me that, and Lisa says, don't be a dick. I'm like, slow down, Lisa. Okay, like, come on. Like, I mean, she's right, but it's too mean. I mean, I know that's who she is. And of course, and Gru, by the fact that Gru doesn't respond, I think he's like, yeah, okay, whatever.
I really liked Gru's point of, no, we all need to stay with Regent and Shatterbird because if Regent gets taken down, we have to deal with Shatterbird.
Yeah.
And I think that this is why they're not going to keep Shatterbird around long term.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it just is too dangerous.
Mm-hmm. My evaluation on the merits is that I'm more on Brian's side than Taylor's.
Of, like, whether Taylor should go to the shelter.
Yeah, I just think that because she doesn't consider risk to herself as a meaningful risk, she's never going to be good at doing these calculations in, like, a fair way.
Right.
On the other hand, you can't just have, like, consensus in order to make these kinds of decisions.
Right, I mean, there's no
So, like,
time.
Lisa's absolutely right that, like, somebody needs to be in charge. And
yeah, it's Lisa giving her orders to go again.
Yeah, 100%.
I love how Lisa's like, Bonesaw countered your bugs last time, and Taylor's like, I have a few things in mind. Turns out she has one thing in mind. It's lighting tissues on fire, and it doesn't work.
Yes. I mean, I love a good failed plan. And,
yes, we gotta have some failed plans.
And I love that Taylor keeps her word to her team. She's like, well, I tried all of my plans. I don't have anything else I can do. I will retreat.
Yes.
Right? Like, I really appreciate her sticking to that and not just charging in and getting herself attacked by, spider zombie civilians. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I did want to, like, poor Brian. I feel so bad. Lisa's like, you tell us if you weren't feeling right, yeah? And he says, if I had any idea what I felt and it wasn't good, yeah. And Lisa says, good enough. It's not good enough. That is not a good enough answer. This boy is not
good
okay.
Enough for in the middle of a crisis situation.
That's true. Now is not the time for therapy, but like let's circle back.
And Lisa should not be a therapist.
Let's circle back to that.
Can you imagine her as a therapist?
She would just...
Oh, but what about the thing your dad said about that? And you're like, I didn't tell you that.
Yeah. She would just tell you, this is your problem.
Exactly.
But my understanding of therapy is that is not effective.
Yeah, it wasn't very effective versus Amy. She would know what the problem was, but she wouldn't be able to tell you how to fix it.
Yeah.
Speaking of important self-reflection, let's talk about Taylor and her thoughts about facing down Leviathan.
Yeah, what did you make of that?
Yeah, so it's interesting that she says when she left the Undersiders, I guess I was thinking of considering becoming a hero or something.
So many qualifiers.
Yeah.
She has trouble admitting it in front of Lisa and Brian.
But that is interesting. Like, I'm trying to remember if she actually thought about that, because like there wasn't really any time. Like, she didn't really have a plan at all when she's at
the fight. She's like, I don't know where to sit. Remember, she doesn't have. She has that cafeteria feeling of like, there's no table for me.
Yeah. And I feel like what we got from her at the end of Arc 8 is her being like, well, I can't join the heroes because of Armsmaster, because of Sophia, because of like what I know about the heroes.
Yeah.
I'm disillusioned with them. She didn't really call this part out. Like, this feels like a thing that's new to us.
Yeah.
That she finally did this thing that someone would be like, yeah, that's heroic. And she's like, oh, but I don't feel good about it.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't feel like the right move to her.
Well, she says be proud, right? So what... I do kind of want to, like, dig in on that. Like, why can't she be proud of her actions that day?
It sounds like it's in part because she doesn't know how many people she actually saved. Like, she doesn't know if she saved a significant amount of people because Leviathan did have all that time to do that harm before she went in there. And in part, it's because she's wondering if she, like, held back or didn't move as fast as she could or whatever because Mr. Gladly was there.
Yeah.
So maybe it's almost like, well, I did this heroic thing, but I still felt like myself with, like, my conflicting impulses and, like, things I don't like about myself, like unattractive qualities, like not liking Mr. Gladly and being like, oh, maybe I do want him to die. Like, she didn't feel like a hero.
Yeah.
And she thought if she were a hero, she would feel like someone other than herself, but she didn't.
Yeah, I really like that. I was thinking a little bit about, right, she has this core feeling of leaving Mr. Gladly to die.
Yeah.
My recollection is the way that scene works is she leaves, she retreats, she gets on the comms, reports Leviathan's location, picks up the halberd, and goes back in. I don't remember there being anything of her like, well, I took my time just to make sure that Mr. Gladly was dead, right? But it's that feeling that she had of, it almost connects to the killer instinct thing that we've been talking about, of like, in that moment, she was like, yeah, I want him to die. Yeah. And that is a really ugly and bad feeling. Yeah. And so the fact that she, a minute later, comes storming back in and is being heroic, there's also, I think, she is like slowly sneaking up on Leviathan with the halberd, and I think watching Leviathan kill people, and she can't go fast enough to stop it. So I think there's a lot, I don't know. I guess, like you were saying, sort of the shattered idealism of like, I finally did something heroic, but it didn't feel good.
And I think, she, on an emotional level, she really wants to be with the Undersiders. And I think there was this sense of like, okay, but maybe it would be worth it to me because I'd feel like a hero. Yeah. Like, betraying the Undersiders would be worth it because I'd get this special shininess of being a hero, and that would exist inside of me.
Right. All the heroes would be so grateful. They would celebrate me.
And then she did the heroic thing, and the special shininess wasn't inside of her. And she's like, wait, this isn't worth it. Yeah.
It reminds me of when she beat Mannequin, and all of the Unravelers are like, everybody's singing your praises, Skitter. And she just is like, she doesn't feel anything. She doesn't feel anything. Yeah. I was also really fascinated by her finally admitting, right, that dream of being a hero that I always had just kind of faded away in the face of reality. I feel like that is something that she has not been grappling with. Yeah. And I love to see her facing it and not just like thinking about Dinah all the time. Right? Like, and even in this chapter, I feel like the fact that she goes to Legend and is like, well, do you think it's all going to be okay? I feel like that's her getting a little bit more in touch with that initial Taylor, the one who's like, I'm going to go out and be a hero, right? Like, she's trying to connect to this part of her. She's talking to Amy being like, I'm not sure I am a good person, right? Yeah. Like, there's this kind of thread of her thinking about her role and how she fits in and stuff that is coming to the surface. There's like an actions versus identity thing happening. Like, she wanted the identity of a hero. And that seems to be something she's given up, but she hasn't given up the sort of things underpinning that. Like, I want to help people. I want to save the city. I want to save Dinah. I don't want to do these terrible things. Like, that is all stuff that she's still holding on to. But it's the label of
being a hero.
Yeah.
That she doesn't think has meaning anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's also like her saying to Amy, like, don't go down the slippery slope. Like, don't justify things to yourself because you don't know where you're going to end up. Right. It's also like Lisa being genuinely surprised that Taylor isn't proud.
Yeah.
Right. Sort of like Lisa looks at Skitter and is like, oh, well, she's getting to be a hero. Right. Like she's not, you know.
And clearly Taylor does care about
but...
that because she does stuff like saving Charlotte. Like,
right. But she also has the, like, part of her that's like, well, I saved all those people and they're mad at me about, like, the rat house and stuff. Like, that guy is so ungrateful. You know, why aren't people thanking me? Right?
Yes. She's complicated.
Yeah.
All right, we figured it out. We can end the podcast. Taylor's complicated.
What is it? That's let me tell you the story of a complicated girl.
Perfect.
A little quick thing about Taylor's power. She hears through the bugs Bonesaw maybe saying Jack.
Oh, yeah.
I've loved this incredibly slow play every time Bug Sounds has come up since she learned that one time she heard through her bugs. She's gotten a little bit better.
That makes sense, because it does seem to be like a skill that requires a lot of learning and practice.
It's really, really fun. Now it's like an individual word can be recognized. I feel like that's another new milestone. I was really interested in this inside-outside Gru moment when Taylor's like, oh, the 9 might come after us. And she sees Gru's darkness kind of expand around him by a fraction. Uh-huh. Right? Like, and then she says, sorry. And he's like, huh? Right? And she says, never mind. Right? Why would he be aware? Right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Having that kind of mood ring.
Inside, outside Taylor. But I was also thinking, like, we have seen Taylor observe Brian in lots of situations. I'm remembering it, like, when he's on the ground being threatened by Bakuda, when he's at the Summers Rock meeting. I think there are lots of different times where you see Brian and his darkness is, like, roiling around him. Yeah. And it has this intimidating effect. Yeah. But it's so interesting.
It's also revealing. It's vulnerable. Yeah.
Exactly. It's instinctually connected to his feelings of vulnerability. Yeah. And so it's really interesting to think about going back to those moments.
You're like, oh, he was feeling vulnerable.
Right. And of course, the image he puts on is of he's this really tough, scary guy shrouded in darkness. Yeah. Right. But now that we know more about his inner vulnerability, we can kind of see it and trace it back to all of those other, like,
that's really fun
moments of his power flaring up. We can cut this, but talking about Siberian, even the slightest abrasion on the surface of the skin served to tear through the legs and bodies of the bugs. Her nipples must be absolutely shredding those bugs.
Why do you think she doesn't wear clothes?
Yeah. Were you ever worried that Siberian would get Legend in this scene? It kind of is a little
I was
tense.
worried when he was going into the shelter and she was really close to him.
Yeah. I was wondering if we were fearing for Legend in this moment.
What if his name isn't Legend? We've actually been mispronouncing it. It's actually Leg End. And he's the one who's going to lose a leg, like Armsmaster lost an arm. Yes.
Well, if he's Leg End, then he's going to gain a leg.
Well, that's the end of his leg.
Well, but Armsmaster loses an arm.
Oh, okay.
Well, maybe he'll end someone else's leg.
Oh, he just shoots other people's legs. Oh my god. Good old Leg End. It's really just a foot.
His pirate alternative, Pageant.
Wouldn't that be Leg Peg or something?
Peg End.
Peg End.
You know who I really miss? Bakuda.
Oh.
These bombs were so cool.
They're really cool.
And really scary.
Yeah. Do you think she still has powers as like a Revenant or whatever?
What do you think?
I don't know. Bonesaw would give her powers. But because she's a tinker, I don't know. Like, is her mind really there? It's impossible to say.
Yeah. Well, why would you be, kept?
Well, it's not like they have a lot of random people around to keep. Right. Like, they're in the birdcage.
You're not going to keep Bakuda around, like, for the company.
Yeah. But to have, like, a servant or whatever, yeah.
The one that got to me is there's boneless, faceless, fleshy monsters that get created by the bombs, and then the monsters turn to dust, and then the dust consumes other things, and then it all gets sucked into a black hole.
That makes more sense. I thought Bonesaw had created the monsters before.
Oh, no, that could...
But no, Taylor thought they just were normal people with metal on them, so...
Yeah.
I was confused by that.
Yeah. No, I see what you're saying. But, like, yeah, just the monster bomb that turns everything into dust was particularly creepy to me. Yeah, I really loved the analysis of Jack as a sniper, and I liked the observation sort of that his personality and team role are keeping him from peak performance. Like, peak performance by Jack would be, like, climb to the top of the tallest tower and then just, like, snipe people with, like, a telescope or something.
He's so much more powerful as the leader of the Nine.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Like, he can wield all these 8 other people, if there are ever 8.
Well, I think that wraps it up for us.
Okay, nice short one.
Yeah.
Very action-oriented. Not actually short, but in comparison with our recent episodes, very short.
What do you think is going to happen next?
Oh, that's a great point. I actually haven't really made any predictions. I did sort of make my global predictions about who is going to die. I think that the Unravelers are going to disregard Legend's advice and attack, and I think that the biological weapon will get unleashed on the city, and that it will be very bad. I think this whole book is just like a Snuff film about Brockton Bay.
Oh no.
It's like, watch this city die.
Oh no.
I mean, I hope not. I hope that it comes back and has a glorious renaissance.
Sounds just like Legend.
That's me. Leg end.
Well, we're not at the end of the arc yet, so...
We're not even at the leg end of the arc.
No. The next chapter starts. How did it go, Tattletale?
Asked me on the phone. So Taylor's going to call Tattletale, and she's going to have to tell her, like, you guys need to back off because Legend says so. And Tattletale's going to be like, oh no, biological weapon! Just like that, in that voice. And then they'll talk through the options, and she'll say, well, we'll be there in a minute, and we can talk about it when we get there. And by the time they get there, something will have shifted tactically, so they all have to attack.
I love it.
Yeah.
What's the next cliffhanger going to be?
Ooh. And then Bonesaw dropped the vial into the water.
Dun, dun, dun.
Splash.
And then what happens?
That's the end of the chapter.
What happens at the beginning of the next chapter? I know, we're getting extra bonus 2 chapter
The
ahead.
water boils up and tries to attack everyone, and they all have to run.
That's cool. Okay.
Yeah, we'll see.
Amazing. Next time.
On Inchworm.
Worm is a web serial by J.C. McCrae. You can read Worm at parahumans.wordpress.com and support the author at patreon.com/wildvote. Follow us on Tumblr and Blue Sky at Inchworm Podcast, or find our Discord link and any other updates on inchwormpodcast.com.